Thank you very much, President, and I agree this initiative of defense not only from the Venezuelan state and this institution, but also the defense of women and men of Venezuela that deserve to live in peace and in liberty. Please, can you send us the first slide? And this is a quote of Francisco Franco. Never the United States of America has referred of Francisco Franco as a dictator or as a murderer. In 1952, the government of the United States signed agreement with Francisco Franco. Franco said, "I will save Spain of Marxism, whatever it costs. I wouldn't mind to kill to half of Spain, because the phantom of the communism must be extinguished." And this is the typical quote that you can find when you analyze the history of the fascism of any form of political quote that is established in the annihilation of the other. It is quite simple to identify. You can see Hitler and Mussolini and their way to speak, and it's simple to recognize the fascist expression or Nazi expression in this way of doing politics. But this has changed in the current times, and the fascism is wearing makeup now, and is sweeter now, and is in disguise. And the main expression of the ideas of fascism is an attempts against the humankind are based in the spread and the style and the way of the social network in the current times. Are in my viewpoint, those are the biggest danger that exists against the humankind. The greatest danger against the peace of the planet, the greatest danger that exists against the necessity to live in a consensual society, because that's what the social network use, sort of artificial consensus to control the mind of people, and that's widely proved. And you can pass to the second slide. This is a truth that the psychologists and psychiatrists said, which said the human being is a social being. The fear of social is a fear that is determined in the human being's brain. The human species has a natural rejection to be isolated or to be set apart from the community, and thus in the frontal cortex of the brain, and there is part of the brain where it is established an emotion of anxiety, of fear, or rejection to be isolated. The most of the human being doesn't like to be alone, which is proper humankind condition, because we require of association of the members of the same species to understand the needs of search of food and to protection of predators. Is to say that the humankind, the human being, is afraid of isolation, and that's what exactly what the social media uses. When you refer to the subject public opinion, there is a dictionary of sociology and anthropology and communication, and you search public opinion, there's 50 definitions of public opinion that goes from the formations of ideas and concepts that are shared by everyone and until what is referred in a poll. They have different, and polls have different ways to express the public opinion. If you are asked which is your choice to vote, you're making your opinion. A lot of you say, I don't know where I'm going to vote still. But if you ask who's going to win, what you express is what is hidden in your line of thought and you have some sort of concern to express. We can stay with two concepts of public opinion mainly. One, the public opinion, which is rational, that we know in the TV and the communication media, is a tool that use the government and also the companies to determine the taste of the customers, and those are the common elements to instrument a determined function or the opinion, and that's what everyone knows about uh, of public opinion. But there's another opinion, another definition of public opinion set by Elizabeth Norman, that we're speaking about public opinion as social control, which is mind slavery. How can be slavery the mind of the people? With the silence spiral, which is the main element of the social network used to control us. What does this mean? And what is referred to and what is submitted to the silence spiral is under is working with the fear of to be isolated. It is in the brain a fear to be rejected or be despised. What is the silence of a spiral of silence refers to wide the opinions that wants to threaten and will widen in such a level that the ones that think differently have no other choice than to remain silent. That's what they did, the fascism, in the period before the elections on, and also on the days Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. They were making propaganda of tourism and beach. If they were not saying, and I have the example of a tattoo artist, is a friend of mine. If they were saying, if you don't make a pronunciation against, you're a warm person. And what generates this? A way of public opinion that is not a public opinion, that is just a mind dictatorship. It ends up to generate a form of public opinion where the only opinion that exists is that the ones that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, or these people want, because that's the main way of the expression of the social network. Those even majorities, that could be a majority, but if it's a silent majority, the social network will turn it in non-existent. You can see the main concept of the silence spiral, and that was applied to Venezuela, and they come in applying against the Bolivarian revolution, but it's being heightened in these days. That's the opinion of the prosecutor. General prosecutor, the vice president of the republic, doesn't exist in the communication ministry and the social network in the entire world. The victims don't exist. There weren't human beings that were murdered and tortured, and they're not representatives of the public order. No, only exists what matters to Elon Musk, what it matters to Mistress Corina Machado and Edmundo González Urrutia to impose. That's the truth. 25 human beings that were murdered, they doesn't exist for the social network. The silence spiral, the line work of the Bolivarian Republic are silenced. The call of the President of the Republic of peace are being shut up constantly. It's a true dictatorship, and it's a mission of the human species to stop the dictatorship of the social network, because we are at risk from the humankind to be under the dictatorship where some people decide by millions of people. The process of the spiral of silence always ends up in silence. It sounds like a truth, but what they do is to make us silence. If you have a different opinion from Elon Musk, you don't have a place. And that, on the top of that, is making a condition for the development of the nervous systems of our children and our young people that are still in a formation process of the central nervous system. And I say, by example, the young people, the teenagers, 12, 13, 14 years, there's a part of the brain that is very little but it's very important, called the amygdala. That's the expression of the emotion. And the puberty, with the explosion of hormones that occurs in the human beings when they initiate the puberty, those hormones that are segregated in that stage, they may condition the shape, the way that the brain amygdala works. That one is formed better in the puberty stage in life, and that's the age of the subject that is way more bombed by social networks like Instagram and TikTok, because they are precisely designed for the puberty and teenagers, because the network decides for you. You cannot even decide what to see. Elon Musk decides for you. Zuckerberg decides for you. You cannot interchange your opinion or content with other people. That's almost impossible in TikTok. It's the algorithm who decides what you're going to do and what are you going to do to see. So there's another element of the control of the social network. The first, the silence spiral. If I need you to shut up, I will shut you. And not only I will, but I will convince you that your opinion is not the majority opinion. That's why they have bots. What happened was, when our president or someone has an opinion contrary to the ones in the network, they activate a lot of bots and they activate lights, and that makes it the majority opinion. It's a true infestation by millions and millions of inexistent things called bots that turn into reality. And it could be people that may have a different opinion, but it won't express us because it's under the silence spiral. The second element of control is the resonance box. And these two path goes. What is the resonance box? Is that the algorithm determines in a base of what you express as your taste, and that's the other key element of the affectation of the social network. The brain, the communication ways of the brain, or the coins, like the expression of the brain, is called neurotransmitter, which according it provokes responses. The social networks are impregnated with a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is the immediate pleasure neurotransmitter, but it lasts for a brief moment in the brain. That's why your Instagram and TikTok are searching for dopamine constantly. And what this social network does with you and whatever you want to see, and it closes you in a box that we call the resonance box, and you believe that what is in the world is what you're thinking or seeing, and if you happen something different, you're rejected because your reality is the one that the social network built for you, and that's a danger. And how they applied it to Venezuela, and they keep applying to try to defeat a government who's being elected by the vote of Venezuela, that people that is not even Venezuela are trying to get a power that through a power to generate hatred and fascism. There's no Francisco Franco anymore. Is a suit guy that has a meeting today with Donald Trump to spread the hate ideas. That's why President us in the National Assembly, and in attention to the request that you have made, we want to suspend the recess of Parliament because we're going to dedicate to the task in this period of session during the recess to approve a package of law that you have requested to look for and defend to our population about from the hatred, the terrorism, and the spread of fascism ideas and hatred ideas in the social network. We're going to set immediately to discuss from tomorrow in the second instance the law of prosecution and funding of the non-governmental associations that are ruled in every single country in the world, but not in Venezuela. There's non-government organizations like the Red Cross that function to providing services to the people, but there's some that don't, that working. Today, Julio Borges has a speech from a platform that they consider secure, saying that it was necessary to put the comanditos back and to make a financial support of the comandito had approved that is the main funding of the Carter Center. Who is paying the trouble of Venezuela? DUSAI, the United States Agency for the International Development. So the NGO, how can it be? Also, we're going to discuss in second instance from tomorrow, Mr. President, the law against fascism, the neo-fascism, and the similar expressions. We're going to review the law against the hatred to incorporate the related elements with the trip of element. And I left to discussion the Venezuelan is to bring a rule to the social network. We're not the pioneers in this subject. More than 70 countries, almost the 40% of the countries approved in the United Nations, has been ruling the functioning of the social network. The European Union in 2019 started to discuss, and there is regulations of the functioning of these instances. France put it in 2018. United Kingdom put a project of ruling of social network that was commanding impartiality in political subject. France demands since 2018 social network to be ruled at the moment of electoral campaigns. Ireland put a ticket on Twitter because it involves in electoral campaign. At the time, Elon Musk wasn't an owner of Twitter at the time. United States, the New York State, Arkansas State, and Florida also has rules upon social network. Is important to defend the state and the institution, but also to the people, to defend the Venezuelans, and most of all, take care of our children that are being right now submitted to a hatred infection through the social media. In the 1950s, managed to impose that the women that were smoking started smoking again, and millions of people died because of cancer, lung cancer, because of this propaganda of the consumption of cigarettes of women. What will happen in the future of these children that are infected in hatred? Thank you very much.